In the midst of the battle for the fate of the Spider-Verse, Spider-Man, Aranya, and Night Spider engage in a fierce brawl against the minions of Shatra, the Wasp Queen, inside the temple of the first spider. Spidey remains determined, assuring the group that they will find a way out of this predicament. As long as he's around, they can't afford to lose. However, the situation takes a treacherous turn when a zombie version of Spider-Gwen, under the influence of Wasp Queen, unexpectedly stabs Spider-Man in the chest. The impact leaves Spider-Man reflecting on his past accomplishments and the lives he saved. And then, whoosh, Spider-Man disappears in a puff of smoke. Fast forward a bit, and we're taken back in time. A spider, just minding its own business on its web, accidentally finds itself in a science lab. A dash of radiation later, the spider's got some newfound powers. But wait, it's not done yet. It decides to take a tiny nibble of a girl's foot, Cindy Moon by name. Cindy doesn't feel too great after that bite, so she steps outside for some fresh air. Meanwhile, Peter Parker, the guy we all know as Spider-Man, is engrossed in his science stuff. Later, he's sharing his findings with his class. Trust me, though, his classmates are less than thrilled to listen to his talk. Flash Thompson starts making a fuss. He's all noisy and grumpy because Peter's outshining him in the brains department. The crowd is roaring, Flash's ego is bruised, and a pretty wild claim slips from his lips. He says he was just lending Peter a hand from his not-so-comfortable spot on the ground. Quick to the rescue, Liz steps in like a superhero herself, trying to defuse the whole situation before it spirals out of control. But then, like a beacon of stern authority, the school principal swoops in. Everyone knows that when Principal Davis shows up, things are getting real. The fight's officially over, but the tension hangs heavy in the air. Peter and Flash might not be throwing punches anymore, but you can practically feel the unspoken rivalry crackling between them. Principal Davis isn't letting this slide easily. He's got questions, and he's got Peter right in his sights. In front of the entire school, Peter has to swallow his unease and actually confirm the story Flash spun. You can practically see the skepticism in Davis's eyes, but he's giving them a temporary pass this time around. As the other students scatter, Peter's left to pack up his stuff, his mind churning with thoughts of revenge and justice. Now the sun is setting, and Peter's back in his own zone, his room, surrounded by his science gear. There's this new microscope gleaming in the dim light, a thoughtful gift from Uncle Ben and Aunt May. They're all gathered around the TV, engrossed in an interview with the one and only J. Jonah Jameson. The man's got a knack for raining on everyone's parade, dismissing these new vigilantes like Spider-Woman as nothing more than attention grabbers. But hey, the Parkers are in their own little bubble, finding some peace amid the chaos of the world. That's when the universe decides to throw them a curveball. A masked intruder bursts in, gun in hand. The calm evening shatters in an instant, replaced by fear and adrenaline. In this terrifying moment, Uncle Ben becomes the Rock. He's steady, almost as if he's done this before. He knows how to handle the situation, and he's ready to take a stand. He tries to redirect the robbers' attention toward him, showing a courage that leaves everyone in awe. Peter, though, he's not about to stand by and watch. He offers up his brand new microscope, a gesture of desperation and goodwill. But things take a turn for the worse. May steps in, her voice unsteady but determined, telling the robber to keep the gun away from her nephew. The situation's spinning out of control, and then it happens. The gun is pointed at May, and in that instant, Peter's instincts kick into overdrive. He lunges, fueled by an unbreakable drive to protect his family. And then, a gunshot rings out, slicing through the air like a chilling echo of the chaos that's unfolded. The room's filled with a mix of shock, pain, and disbelief as Peter finds himself caught in the crossfire. In the aftermath, Peter lies wounded while the robber is apprehended by the police. The Parkers anxiously await news of Peter's condition. He is diagnosed with serious leg injuries, leaving the possibility that he may never walk again. However, determined and with unwavering support from his family, Peter begins the challenging journey of recovery. He progresses from a wheelchair to crutches and eventually re-enters school. Back at school, Peter faces the harsh realities of bullying, enduring the taunts and physical abuse from his peers. One day, a new ally, Flash Thompson, comes to his aid, putting an end to the bullying and proclaiming Peter a hero for his courageous act. As a result, Peter finds himself accepted by Flash's group of friends. During lunchtime, Peter awkwardly interacts with his newfound friends, suggesting they visit a planetarium exhibit. Although Flash dismisses the idea, Peter enjoys the camaraderie. Liz suggests they attend a pep rally together that evening, marking a potential turning point in Peter's social life. Together, Peter and Flash head out in Flash's car, heading for school. In class, Peter and Flash have developed a strong friendship, despite their differences. Flash is looking to copy Peter's work, but when he admits his struggles with grades and sports, Peter offers to tutor him and help him improve. Before the class can start, their attention is drawn to a disturbance as the Sandman crashes into the room. He demands silence from the terrified students. Peter is reminded of the day he was shot and recalls the trauma. Meanwhile, Silk swings into action, engaging Sandman in a fight. The students are amazed by her heroics, but the principal and Flash usher Peter out of the room for safety. Outside, as Silk continues to battle Sandman, the students watch in awe. Flash jokes about Peter having a crush on Silk, but Peter denies it while acknowledging her impressive abilities. J. Jonah Jameson arrives and accuses Silk of being a foreign spy, blaming her for various incidents. Despite Peter's defense of Silk's heroism, Jameson remains skeptical. Days later, Peter is still intrigued by Silk, and the idea that she might be a Korean American from Queens. He focuses on his schoolwork with Flash, but his thoughts keep drifting back to Silk. Flash encourages Peter to use his intelligence to come up with a plan to help Silk rather than starting a fan club. Late at night, Peter works diligently in his room, crafting web shooters, spider tracers, and a Silk signal. Once his devices are ready, he uses a spider-themed radio transmitter to call Silk to a meeting on the roof of Midtown High. In her room, Cindy Moon hears the message through her spider sense. At 10 o'clock that night, Peter waits on the roof for Silk's arrival. When she confronts him, he explains that he wants to repay her for saving his class. He offers her a backpack, hinting at his intention to work together with her. Peter's knowledge of technology allows him to create useful equipment for Silk. He has backup web shooters in case her organic ones run out, and he even designs a magnetic inverter that can disable Vulture's wings. Silk acknowledges that such a tool would have been valuable in her previous battles. Silk, curious about Peter's motivation, questions why he's going out of his way to help her when most people she helps don't reciprocate. Peter counters by wondering why Silk chooses to be a superhero, despite the risks and lack of reciprocation. Silk opens up about her past, explaining that she was advised to keep her powers hidden to protect her loved ones. However, the chaotic events around her led her to repeatedly intervene, as she felt a responsibility to prevent harm. She draws a parallel between her actions and her spider sense, a constant awareness of danger and the need to respond. Turning the conversation back to Peter, Silk wants to know why he's invested in helping her. Peter reveals his own experience with bullies, particularly J. Jonah Jameson. Flash's support helped him during a tough time, and now he wants to pay it forward. Silk welcomes Peter to her team, acknowledging him as her new IT guy. As Peter and Silk continue working together, their partnership grows stronger. During Silk's battles, Peter's gadgets prove to be valuable assets. Silk employs the magnetic inverter to counter Vulture's wings and uses the Silk signal to dispel Mysterio's illusions. She also uses spider tracers to track down Kraven the Hunter. The income from selling photos to J. Jonah Jameson helps fund Peter's efforts to create more equipment for her. Silk's heroic actions gain her more fans, including Flash Thompson, who starts supporting her as well. With Peter's technological assistance and Silk's determination, they form a formidable team, fighting against various threats and making a positive impact on their city. Peter continues his relationship with Liz while taking pride in his superhero work. He transforms his Silk technology into winning inventions for science fairs, showcasing his innovation and skills. By the time he graduates, he's accomplished enough to become class valedictorian, although he credits Flash for nearly taking the spot. Aunt May and Uncle Ben join the celebration, proud of his achievements and imagining how his parents would have felt. Flash and Peter both secure scholarships to Empire State University, leading to some lighthearted banter about sharing a living space. Norman Osborn, who awarded Peter an Oscorp scholarship, checks up on him. Peter appreciates the support and is determined to make a positive impression. As time passes, Peter becomes a respected employee at Oscorp, maintaining a good relationship with Norman. He recalls a situation where he called Silk to prevent a hijacking, displaying his ongoing commitment to fighting crime. In the lab, Peter and his partner work on a teleportation device. Unexpectedly, the system activates on its own, shocking Peter. Within the mysterious activation, he sees a group of spiders forming the word "help." This peculiar incident raises questions about what is happening, and Peter is determined to uncover the truth.